Hello, my name is Caroline Webster. I'm currently the head of screen acting at East 15 Acting School, and I'd just like to share a few top tips with you about how to audition for drama school. So although I'm the head of screen acting, I've been on the panel for auditions, I've directed a lot of theatre shows, worked in the theatre a lot, so I know what it is that we're looking for. So my first top tip is about choosing your material. So as you know, you'll be asked to do one modern piece, a monologue, and one classical piece, usually Shakespeare. So my best top tip is choose something that is age appropriate. Choose something that's right for your age. So if you are 18, 19, most people are, top teens, early 20s, make sure the material is written for that age group. It's very difficult for us to judge what an actor is capable of if they're 20 years old and come in and play King Lear. Honestly, there's so much to choose from. Find material that is right for you. So one, be age appropriate, but two, also think about your character qualities. What kind of character do you think you best suit? What can you play? Because these days, particularly I have to tell you for screen, for theatre a little bit different, casting is fairly close to type. So, be sensitive, be realistic about what kind of character you could play, and then choose that material. What you're also looking for is a nice contrast between your modern piece and your classical piece. So if you were playing a young lover who's fairly high status maybe in one of your classical pieces, in your classical piece, you might want to find somebody who's a bit more down to earth and very contemporary for your modern piece. So just think about, how you can show the range of what your casting potential is. All right, so what you're looking for are pieces that will play, once you play them for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes maximum. We can tell quite quickly, if we're getting from you what we need from you. So you don't want to find pieces any longer than that. So find something that's age appropriate, find something that is about the right length. You want a nice contrast between your pieces. So my next top tip is context. So you need to make sure you've done your homework and your research. So make sure you've read the play. With Shakespeare, what you want to do is not only read it, but probably watch a production. Now these days with the internet, it's fantastic. There's so many resources available to you. So you can watch a production online. If you've been lucky enough to go to theatre, fantastic, you get to see it as well. But it will no doubt help you if you've seen a production. With modern writing, of course, it's easier to understand, it's easier to access where the character's coming from, where they're going to. So if you get a chance to watch that too, fantastic, but do your research, okay? Really research the context of where the scene is set, what the given circumstances are for the character, because it's very disappointing for us when we're watching somebody do their speeches and then we ask them questions about the character or about the backstory and they don't know. But if you do know, it says something about you as an actor. It shows that you're dedicated, it shows you've done your research, and it shows that you really understand what it is your character is doing in the present moment. So make sure that you do your research. And when you're looking for material, well, you can either read plays, there are books of monologues, and there's also something called Drama Online, which your school or your college, you may well have access to. It's a wonderful resource. So when you're looking for material, that's where you probably want to look. But do your homework, understand your context, because it says a lot about you as an actor, and it's going to really help you make sure that you can fulfill the story journey, the story arc for your monologue and for your character. Okay, so the next thing is really think about your character's objective. What is it right here and right now that your character wants? So really think about how you want to affect the other person. This is something that you're going to learn, and you're going to perfect this craft through your training at drama school. But if you can be clear about what it is your character wants, you're going to be able to find the story journey and play it with purpose. What's very difficult for us is when we're watching something and somebody's using the words, but they don't really understand what they mean, and they don't really know what it is they're trying to achieve through the text. And you will no doubt be given notes, you'll be asked to do things. But if you know, it's going to give you an absolute head start on how to use the words, how to affect the other person that you are talking to. So, with that in mind, I've got a little piece of Shakespeare here because I just wanted also to talk about how to approach Shakespeare. Now, you may have excellent teachers who have already been through this with you, but not everybody has. So, I've got a little piece here from As You Like It, and it's a character who is currently disguised as a man. Now, this isn't age appropriate for me. The reason I'm choosing it is because it's a speech we get a lot, but it might be age appropriate for you. Anyway, so this character is dressed as a boy, and they're hiding in the woods, and they come across all sorts of lovely characters whilst they're there. And my character is called Ganymede, and another person has fallen in love with me because they think I'm a man. And this character, Phoebe, she thinks quite a lot of herself. And Phoebe is being pursued by a young shepherd who absolutely adores her, but she wants nothing to do with him because she thinks she's a bit too grand. She thinks she's better than that. And because she's fallen in love with this other person, Ganymede. But I'm actually a woman in disguise. So in this speech, what I'm trying to do is persuade Phoebe that actually, she's not as everything that she thinks she is. She's not all that she's cracked up to be, and that she really ought to love this young shepherd boy because he adores her, and quite frankly, they'd be a very good match. So what I want to persuade Phoebe to accept the shepherd, because that would be a far better match and it's what will make her happy. So that's my objective. That's what I want to do. I want her to accept that he's the right choice for her. So that's what I'm going to try to do as I use the language. I'm only going to use the first few lines because Shakespeare can be difficult for us to understand. So when you get a copy, the Arden books are fantastic because they will give you a sort of translation of the meaning. Also online, there are all sorts of wonderful sites that will help you make sure you really understand what is being said. Because when it's written in, an older and more formal style, a little bit more poetic, sometimes it's a little bit less easy to immediately understand what the line means. But what I really want to get across to you is the meaning will become much clearer for you and for your audience if you observe the punctuation. So let me give you a demonstration. I'll use something here to illustrate that. So the first line or the first phrase here is, "And why, I pray you? Who might be your mother that you insult, exult, and all at once over the wretched?" So there we have one phrase. And if I really observe the punctuation, it will be a lot clearer what the meaning is. So the punctuation is, "And why, comma, I pray you, question mark, who might be your mother, comma, that you insult, comma, exult, comma, and all at once, comma, over the wretched, question mark." So what I'm doing is I'm talking to Phoebe, and in effect I'm saying, who on earth do you think you are? How dare you treat this shepherd like this? And if I observe the punctuation, that meaning ought to be a lot clearer. So I'm going to do that now, really observing the punctuation, all right? "And why, I pray you? Who might your mother be?" Sorry, I said that incorrectly. I'm going to say that again. "And why, I pray you? Who might be your mother that you insult, exult, and all at once over the wretched?" I hope you can hear, just by observing the punctuation, the clarity of each thought and how they link together in the phrase become much clearer to understand and to perform. So, for instance, the next little phrase says, "What though you have no beauty, as by my faith I see no more in you than without candle may go dark to bed, must you be therefore proud and pitiless?" So it's a bit cruel what Ganymede's saying. What Ganymede is saying is, you're not much of a looker, love, quite frankly, and most people who wanted to go to bed with you would probably want to do it in the dark. So how dare you treat this boy so badly when you're not a great looker yourself, quite frankly. That's what Ganymede is saying. And if we really observe the punctuation, that meaning ought to be really nice and clear. So, if I observe the punctuation, "as, by my faith, I see no more in you than without candle may go dark to bed. Must you be therefore proud and pitiless? So I hope you can see, or rather you can hear the feeling and the intonation, the clarity of meaning. I'll do that one more time. As by my faith, I see no more in you than without candle may go dark to bed. Must you be therefore proud and pitiless? So I'm challenging her to realise what her qualities are. So that's really the top tip. Observe the punctuation. You will make it far clearer for yourself, but also for the viewer, for your audience. Okay. So we've looked at choosing the right pieces. You want to really understand the context. You want to, when you're doing something that is a classical piece, really observe the punctuation. It will help with the meaning. You want to make sure that you know what your objective is, how it is that you want to affect the other person. Because when you've got that, then you can really, really be very clear with your monologue, and it'll start to come to life. The other thing that we see a lot of are pieces that are just over-choreographed. Honestly, keeping it fairly simple is much better. So what you don't want to do is put in lots and lots of different movements where you've decided you're going to start on the floor and then you're going to get up and then you're going to sit down and then you're going to strike a pose. Honestly, it's just way too much self-conscious acting. If you're really using the text, if you can really visualise who you're talking to and really speak to them, then through the text, your body will find the impulses to move without you choreographing lots of movement. So try to keep the movement simple. You want your whole body to be involved. You want it to be engaged. We want to see your whole body at work. But don't choreograph it, really. Use those impulses, but don't make it too complicated with the moves. Okay. And then the final thing is, we are likely to give you a note and to ask you to do it again. And the reason we're doing that is, one, either we think you haven't quite got the speech right, and so we're trying to get you closer to what we think the intention of the character is, so that the objective is clear, and to try to help you make the most of your monologue. But secondly, we want to know that you're directable. We want to know you're trainable. So we want to know that you are open to ideas, you're open to being given a note or direction, and that you can immediately take it and put it into action. That's why you will be given a note. And the problem, therefore, is if things get too choreographed, people tend to get stuck and only can do it in one way. So don't over-choreograph. Be aware that we're likely to give you a note because we want to know that you can adapt, that you can grow, because it tells us something about you. It tells us that you are open, because drama school is all about being given all sorts of different approaches and methods and ways of creating character, of being present, of being able to give a performance that is truly connected and honest and interesting to watch. So we want to know that you can take those things on board and use them. So if you're given that note, really listen to it and really try to put it into practice immediately. So I hope you found these few top tips useful. Please try applying them to both your Shakespeare and your modern monologue, and I wish you lots and lots of luck as you audition for drama school. Thank you for watching.